Hello, goddesses.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, happy Wednesday,
Happy,
or
happy
whenever
God
you're
Chat
watching
Day.
this. Goddess Chat Day, whenever it is. Yeah. Well, how are you today?
uh, just getting back from the mountains, so pretty good. Just
Yeah.
settling back in. And this is at a meeting earlier, but this is the first thing I'm doing back in the flow. So
Yeah.
in the flow,
Yeah. Well, it looked like you had a really magical time.
we did. It was.
Yeah.
I communed with the trees. It was what I needed.
Yeah. And this is actually a good way to start our discussion today about Minerva because she is the goddess of wisdom. And I'm just reading this poetry, medicine, crafts,
Mhm.
weaving. And I was thinking about the the wisdom part and the wisdom that we can gain from being in nature,
Mm,
right? And
right.
you had a lot of things going on that you were wanting to process, and often we we kind of know but we don't know, and it's like, should I be doing this or should I not?
Right.
And then you put yourself in a beautiful
Hmm.
nature environment or whatever resonates with you, right? And I'm sure that you gain some clarity and some wisdom around some things.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. It looked like you did.
It was this summer has been really hot, and so the mountains were even warmer than we expected. So it was good to go up high in the mountains and hang out in the riverbanks. And my husband did a lot of fishing, so I had a lot of time to sit around while he was fishing.
Yeah.
So it
We
was a
went
really
whitewater rafting.
yes, I did that. Yeah. But it was
uh,
in those times when he was fishing and I was just watching the trees and listening to the water flow. And that taking that time to just be was, I think, is really important for all of us. um, and Minerva is here to help us learn how to appropriately attack something, right? Like go after with intention and heart. And
right, with the owl of wisdom on her shoulder and the olive tree branch in her hand, and she moves forward with that intention of, okay, we're going to address this, but I'm
Mhm.
handing you this olive
Yeah,
branch. We're going to
yeah,
find a peaceful resolution.
for sure.
Shall we say?
Exactly, exactly. And so, when we're working with Minerva, it helps to remember those tools of communication and being open
Mm-hmm.
to to listening as well as sharing. And so that's kind of where I've been. I've been really in the stage of listen instead of speak,
Mm-hmm.
which has been helpful. And I do believe that this goddess has been helping that journey for me.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, what was I thinking? It just left me.
Okay.
No, that every time I am feeling that angst, that wanting to not really like lash out, you know, react
Hmm.
rather than respond.
Right.
That, and I think we touched upon this before, how taking the divine pause, taking a step back, going out into nature
Yeah.
and finding that centeredness and that wisdom,
Yeah.
and then you can respond.
Hmm.
And the communication, I think, is so much better that way. And
Yeah. For sure.
I think a lot of what's going on in the world, in the collective, there's a whole lot of reacting right now, a lot of reacting, and not much responding and listening and processing and responding in kind. And I talked with a podcast guest about that very thing. Is like we're
Mhm.
experiencing this as a collective, and how we respond affects how
Right,
others are, right?
for sure.
So it's really, we are doing a service to the greater good when we take ourselves out of that reaction mode and
Yeah,
find that, right. um
exactly. And I
yeah,
think that's what this goddess is offering us, is to take that view,
yeah,
that
yeah.
way,
And
and approach it from a place of awareness and not just forging forward, right?
yeah, yeah. And I do like the aspect of creativity and the arts, and that part of Minerva that we can bring in, because when we are creating, when we are creative, creating art or whatever, anything that we do to create brings in our divine feminine, because that is the divine feminine, is the creatrix sheet. And that is another way. I know we have a number of artists in our group that have different ways of expression, and some, we appreciate all of you that share what you do. And it doesn't have to be a painting. It could be something that you've written. It could be a candle that you've dressed uh, and chose the crystals
Mm,
because they represent an energy that you're trying to invoke, or whatever it is. A song you want to sing, maybe some music has come to you that you think, where did that come from, anything like that. I urge any of you to, this week, to use those creative tools that work for you,
yeah,
and see what happens.
yeah. Answers will arise.
Yeah, you got this, goddess, you got this.
Mhm. Well, we will be wrapping up our month with Minerva next week, so we'll be excited to move forward with our next goddess, which we'll share more about next week. But between now and then, we'd love to hear what tools you're using to connect with Minerva.
Mhm.
And
Thank you,
with that, we
goddesses.
will see you next week.